I never expected to fall for someone like Ethan Hargrove. One crisp autumn morning in Central Park, as I jogged my usual loop to clear my head from the chaos of my dead-end job, our paths crossed, literally. He collided with me while distracted by his phone, spilling his coffee all over my shirt, and in that split second of apologies and laughter, something sparked that would unravel both our lives. My name is Jonah Rivera, a 28-year-old graphic designer scraping by in a tiny Brooklyn apartment, far from the glittering skyscrapers of Manhattan, where Ethan grew up. He was the heir to Hargrove Industries, a family empire built on real estate and tech investments worth billions. I learned this later, of course. At first, he was just a handsome stranger with piercing blue eyes and a disarming smile, insisting on buying me a new shirt and coffee to make amends. We ended up talking for hours on a park bench, sharing stories about our dreams. Mine modest, like owning a small design studio, his vague, hinting at pressures he couldn't escape. That chance encounter turned into daily texts, then coffee dates that stretched into evenings. Ethan was different from the guys I'd dated before. He listened intently, his world so vast yet he made mine feel significant. But beneath his charm lurked shadows, family expectations, a fiancé arranged by his parents to secure a business alliance, and the unspoken truth that he was living a lie. He confided in me one rainy afternoon in a quiet cafe, his voice barely above a whisper. "Jonah, I've never felt this way about anyone. Not like this." My heart raced. I was falling too, but I knew the risks. Coming from a conservative immigrant family myself, I'd faced rejection when I came out in college, losing touch with relatives who couldn't accept me. Ethan, though, was trapped in a gilded cage where being gay wasn't just taboo. It could cost him everything. As weeks turned to months, our bond deepened. We'd steal moments in hidden spots. Late-night walks along the Hudson, whispered conversations in dimly lit bars where no one knew his name. He introduced me to parts of the city I'd only dreamed of. Rooftop views from exclusive lounges, art galleries with pieces worth more than my rent. But with every high came the low of reality. His phone buzzed constantly with calls from his father, Victor Hargrove, a ruthless tycoon who viewed emotions as weaknesses. "You're the future of this family," Victor would say, as Ethan recounted to me, pressuring him into board meetings and social events with Amelia, his supposed fiancée. I tried to keep things light, but the conflicts brewed. One night, after a heated argument with his parents over dinner, where they dismissed his ideas for ethical investments as naive, Ethan showed up at my door, soaked from the rain, eyes red. "I can't do this anymore, Jonah. Pretending to be someone I'm not." We held each other that night, talking until dawn about what a life together could look like. But doubt crept in for me. How could I, with my student loans and unstable freelance gigs, fit into his world? Society's gaze was harsh whispers about class divides, the media's obsession with the Hargroves. I worried I'd be seen as a gold digger, tainting what we had. The first major clash came at a charity gala Ethan dragged me to as his friend. Dressed in a borrowed suit, I felt out of place among the elite. Amelia was there, elegant and poised, shooting daggers my way when Ethan spent more time with me. Later, in the restroom, I overheard two socialites gossiping. "Victor's son with that nobody? It's a phase. He'll come to his senses." It stung, amplifying my insecurities. When I confronted Ethan, he brushed it off, saying, "They don't matter. You do." But deep down, I wondered if he was ready for the fallout. Our relationship became a secret battleground. Ethan's family started noticing his absences, questioning his distractions. His mother, Eleanor, a society darling, pulled him aside one evening, warning him about ruining the family name. She didn't know about us yet, but her intuition was sharp. Meanwhile, my own friends cautioned me, "Jonah, he's from another world. This ends in heartbreak." I ignored them, clinging to the moments when Ethan looked at me like I was his anchor. Then came the turning point. During a weekend getaway to the Hamptons, Ethan's idea to escape the city, we shared our deepest fears. Lying on the beach under the stars, he admitted, "I've always known I was gay, but admitting it means losing my inheritance, my family." I held his hand, promising we'd face it together. But as the sun rose, reality hit. His phone exploded with messages about a crucial merger that required his presence. He left abruptly, leaving me alone with my thoughts. Was I selfish for wanting him to choose me over stability? Back in the city, tensions escalated. Victor discovered Ethan's skipped meetings and confronted him. In an explosive family dinner, Ethan snapped, defending his right to happiness. "I'm done living your life, Dad," he shouted, storming out. He came straight to me, declaring, "I'm choosing you, Jonah. Let's build something real." My heart soared, but fear gripped me. What if this destroyed him? Society wouldn't forgive a billionaire heir coming out. The tabloids would feast, shareholders revolt. I lay awake that night, Ethan's head on my chest, wondering if love was worth the ruin. The next days were a whirlwind. Ethan began distancing himself from Hargrove Industries, ignoring calls, focusing on us. We dreamed of a simple life, maybe moving to a quieter town, me freelancing, him starting a nonprofit. But whispers spread. Colleagues speculated, friends distanced. One evening, Amelia cornered me outside my apartment. "You think you can take him from us? He'll regret this." Her words echoed the societal divide, rich versus poor, straight facade versus gay truth. It fueled my doubts. Was I pulling him down? As Ethan's resolve strengthened, so did the opposition. Victor cut off his access to family funds, threatening disinheritance. "Choose wisely, son," he warned in a voicemail Ethan played for me. Eleanor pleaded, tears in her voice. "Think of our legacy." Ethan stood firm, but I saw the toll: sleepless nights, lost weight. My love for him warred with guilt. I couldn't bear being the reason he lost everything. In quiet moments, we discussed the broader implications. Society isn't ready for us, I'd say, citing news stories of outed celebrities facing backlash. Ethan countered, "Then we'll make them ready." His optimism inspired, but realism tempered it. My own past resurfaced. Memories of my family's rejection, the isolation. Was I dooming him to the same? The climax loomed when Victor invited Ethan to a final meeting. "Come alone," the note read. Ethan went, hoping for reconciliation, but returned shattered. He said, "If I continue this lifestyle, I'm out. No family, no money." We argued that night, me urging caution, him defiant. "I don't care about the billions if it means hiding who I am." His words pierced me. He was willing to walk away for us. But as he slept, I made my choice. Love sometimes means letting go. The decision haunted me through the night, but by morning, it solidified. Ethan stirred beside me, his face peaceful in sleep, unaware of the storm I'd unleash. I slipped out quietly, leaving a note on the kitchen table. "I can't let you throw it all away. Forgive me." With that, I vanished, packed a bag, quit my job via email, and caught the first bus out of New York, heading west to nowhere in particular. The bus ride blurred into hours of regret and resolve. I replayed our moments. The way Ethan's laugh lit up rooms, how he'd trace patterns on my back during quiet evenings. But intertwined were the conflicts, the societal chasms we'd never bridge. In America, where wealth dictated worth, our love was a rebellion. But at what cost? Ethan deserved his legacy. I couldn't be the anchor dragging him under. I ended up in Chicago, a city vast enough to swallow my identity. I changed my number, deleted social media, and found a cheap room in a rundown neighborhood. Days turned to weeks of job hunting, bartending at a dive bar, where tips barely covered rent. The isolation gnawed. Without Ethan, colors seemed muted. I'd catch glimpses of couples on the street, envying their simplicity, free from the weight of billions and expectations. Memories flooded unbidden. Back in Manhattan, our first real date had been magical. A picnic in Washington Square Park, where Ethan confessed his fears of disappointing his family. "They see me as the golden boy," he'd said, vulnerability cracking his facade. I'd reassured him, but now I wondered if I'd been naive. Society's judgments were relentless. Tabloids already hinted at Ethan's erratic behavior, speculating on his absences. If we'd gone public, the scrutiny would have been brutal. Accusations of me exploiting him, his family disowning him publicly. In Chicago, I built a fragile routine. My new boss, a gruff man named Mike, noticed my distraction but didn't pry. Everyone's running from something, he grunted one night as we closed up. He was right. I was fleeing the guilt of abandoning Ethan. What if he'd spiraled? I resisted the urge to search his name online, fearing confirmation of my worst fears. Months passed, and the pain dulled to an ache. I started dating casually, a guy named Tom, kind but unremarkable. It was a distraction, highlighting how irreplaceable Ethan was. Tom sensed my detachment. "You're not over someone, are you?" I nodded, ending things amicably. Alone again, I reflected on the choices that led here. Was vanishing selfless or cowardly? Society praised sacrifice in love stories, but mine felt like betrayal. News trickled in despite my efforts. A coworker mentioned a headline, "Hargrove heir steps down amid family feud." My heart plummeted. Had Ethan followed through? I caved, borrowing a library computer to search. Articles detailed his resignation from the board, citing personal reasons. Photos showed him gaunt, avoiding cameras. Victor's statement was cold. "We wish Ethan well in his pursuits." No mention of reconciliation. Guilt surged. I'd pushed him to this by leaving. The emotional turmoil peaked one winter evening. Snow blanketed Chicago, mirroring my isolation. I dreamed of Ethan. Us laughing in Central Park, his warmth against the cold. Waking in tears, I questioned everything. Had I underestimated his strength? Society's pressures were immense, but perhaps our love could have withstood them. Friends back home, those I'd ghosted, might have supported us, but fear had won. I considered reaching out, drafting emails I'd never send. "I'm sorry," they'd begin, explaining my logic. Preserving his world, sparing him regret. But would he understand? The class divide we'd ignored loomed large now, me, a nobody, dictating his fate. It was paternalistic, I realized, robbing him of agency. Spring brought tentative hope. I landed a better job at a small ad agency, designing campaigns that echoed my old dreams. Colleagues were welcoming, but I kept walls up. One day, browsing news absent-mindedly, I saw it. Ethan in an interview coming out publicly. "I've hidden too long," he said, voice steady. "Love shouldn't cost your identity." My breath caught. He mentioned no names, but the timing aligned. Pride swelled, mixed with sorrow. He'd walked away anyway, without me. The revelation sparked debate online. Supporters hailed his bravery. Critics decried the fall of a dynasty. Victor remained silent, but rumors swirled of a will revision. Ethan's new venture, a foundation for LGBTQ+ youth from affluent families, gained traction. Seeing his progress, I felt a bittersweet vindication. My vanishing hadn't stopped him. Perhaps it propelled him. Yet doubts lingered. Had I been the catalyst or the coward? In quiet moments, I'd ponder the societal norms we challenged. The expectation that gay men from privilege must conform, that love across classes is doomed. My choice reflected internalized biases, fearing judgment more than embracing possibility. As summer approached, a package arrived at my door, forwarded from my old address. No return label. Inside, a letter in Ethan's handwriting. "Jonah, I understand why you left, but I need to know if it's truly over." My hands trembled. Someone had tracked me. Emotions crashed. Relief, fear, love. He'd found me, but was I ready? I stared at the letter for hours, weighing options. Society would still judge, families oppose, but perhaps we'd grown. My heart urged response, but logic hesitated. What if reopening wounds destroyed us both? The letter sat on my table like a ticking bomb. Ethan's words replaying in my mind. I need to know if it's truly over. Part of me wanted to burn it, preserve the distance I'd fought for. But curiosity and lingering love won. I replied cautiously, a short email to the address he'd included. "I'm in Chicago. We can talk." His response was immediate. "Flying out tomorrow." He arrived at a neutral cafe downtown, looking different, leaner, more resolute, his billionaire polish replaced by casual determination. We hugged awkwardly, the familiarity electric yet strained. "You vanished," he said, voice laced with hurt. "After everything." I explained my reasoning, fearing I'd ruin him, believing he deserved his world intact. "It was for you," I insisted. Ethan listened, then shook his head. "You decided for both of us, Jonah. That's not love. That's control." His words stung, highlighting my flaw, projecting my insecurities onto him. We delved into the months apart. His public coming out, the family rift deepening. Victor had disowned him formally, but Eleanor reached out sporadically, torn between loyalty and love. "I lost the billions," he admitted, "but gained freedom." Our conversation unearthed buried conflicts. Society's role loomed large, how media portrayed his story as a cautionary tale, conservatives decrying woke elites, progressives celebrating but scrutinizing. Ethan faced backlash, lost friendships, threats online. "But it's worth it," he said. "Hiding was killing me." I shared my struggles. Isolation, failed rebounds, constant second-guessing. "I thought I was protecting you," I confessed. "But I was scared of the fight." As hours passed, old sparks reignited. We walked Chicago's streets, reminiscing about Manhattan moments. But new tensions arose. Ethan wanted to rebuild. I hesitated, citing practicalities. My stable but modest life here, his uncertain future. "What if resentment builds?" I asked. He countered, "What if we miss our chance?" The debate mirrored broader societal issues. Can love transcend class, especially in a divided America where wealth gaps widen? That evening, over dinner at a quiet Italian spot, emotions escalated. Ethan revealed he'd started therapy, unpacking family trauma. "My father's approval was everything," he said. "Until you." Tears welled as he described the void my absence created. I admitted my own therapy sessions, confronting abandonment fears from my family's rejection. "We're both damaged," I said, "but maybe that's why we fit." The night ended with a tentative kiss, reigniting passion but not resolving doubts. Back at my apartment, we talked until dawn, navigating the minefield of reconciliation. Conflicts surfaced. Ethan's lingering ties to wealth, seed money from sympathetic investors for his foundation, clashed with my pride in independence. "I don't want your charity," I snapped once. He replied, "It's not charity, it's partnership." Days blurred into a trial period. Ethan extended his stay, helping with my designs, sharing ideas for his nonprofit. We faced external pressures. A tabloid article linked us, speculating on my return. Comments online were vicious, accusing me of opportunism, him of slumming. It tested our resolve. Ethan wanted to go public, I preferred privacy. "Society will always judge," he argued. "Hiding gives them power." A major clash came during a visit to a local LGBTQ+ center, where Ethan volunteered. Meeting youth facing similar struggles, family rejection, societal stigma, moved me. One teen shared his story of coming out to wealthy parents, echoing Ethan's. It humanized the broader fight, making my vanishing seem selfish. That night, we argued fiercely. "You left me to face it alone," Ethan yelled. "I was ready to fight with you." Guilt overwhelmed. My choice had isolated us both. Reconciliation demanded compromise. I agreed to visit New York, face his world. The trip was tense, staying in a modest hotel, avoiding Hargrove haunts. We met Eleanor secretly. She was warmer than expected, admitting Victor's stubbornness but hinting at thaw. "He misses you," she told Ethan, but societal whispers followed. Old acquaintances snubbed us at a cafe, murmuring about the scandal. Back in Chicago, the high faded into reality. Ethan's foundation required travel. My job anchored me. We discussed logistics, long distance, relocation. Emotions ran high. Love pulled. Fear pushed. One evening, after a call with Victor that ended in shouts, Ethan broke down. "Is this worth it?" he asked. I held him, whispering, "We decide that." As summer waned, a turning point arrived. Ethan received an offer: rejoin the family business on his terms, including advocacy for diversity. Tempted him resources for change from within. But it meant Manhattan pulling us apart again. "Come with me," he pleaded. I wavered. Leaving Chicago meant uprooting my life, facing the elite world I'd fled. The decision weighed heavy, amplifying internal conflicts. Society's expectations, gay couples succeeding despite odds, inspired, but our story was messier. My choice to vanish had created scars. Could we heal them? The offer from Victor hung over us like a storm cloud, forcing choices we'd postponed. Ethan paced my small living room, weighing pros and cons. "This could change everything," he said. "Influence from the top." But I saw the trap. Returning to the family fold might erode his independence, reignite old pressures. "What about us?" I asked. "Manhattan chewed us up before." We debated endlessly, emotions raw. Ethan viewed it as opportunity, I as regression. "You're scared of my world," he accused. Guilty as charged, I recalled the gala's disdain, the class barriers. Society glorified rags to riches tales, but ours was riches to rags, inviting ridicule. Online forums dissected Ethan's life. Some praised his authenticity, others mocked his downgrade. A weekend retreat to the countryside offered clarity. Driving through Illinois fields, we escaped the noise. At a quaint inn, we reconnected deeply, sharing fears, dreaming futures. Ethan admitted the offer's allure, security after instability. "But not without you," he insisted. I confessed my terror. "I vanished once. What if I do again?" Vulnerability bridged gaps, but didn't erase them. Back home, pressure mounted. Victor set a deadline. Ethan's foundation needed funding. We clashed over priorities, his ambition versus my stability. One night, frustration boiled. "You act like my world is poison," Ethan shouted. "It was for us," I retorted. The fight ended in silence, both retreating. Reconciliation came slowly. Ethan delayed his decision, focusing on us. We attended couples counseling, unpacking baggage. The therapist highlighted societal influences, how classism and homophobia amplified our issues. "Your choices reflect broader struggles," she said. It empowered, framing our story as part of a larger narrative. Yet external forces intruded. A reporter contacted me, seeking the other side. I declined, but it sparked paranoia. Ethan's ex-friends leaked stories, painting me as manipulative. Social media erupted. Debates on privilege, love's authenticity, tested our bond. Ethan defended me publicly, escalating scrutiny. The climax hit when Victor flew to Chicago unannounced. Over coffee, he confronted us. "Ethan, come home. This phase ends badly." His disdain for me was palpable. "A bartender? Really?" Ethan stood firm. "It's not a phase, Dad. And Jonah is more than that." The meeting devolved into shouts, Victor storming out with ultimatums. In the aftermath, Ethan chose: reject the offer, commit to his path. "For us," he said. Relief washed over me, but guilt lingered. Had I influenced too much? We planned a fresh start. Move to Seattle, blend our worlds. Ethan would expand his foundation. I'd freelance remotely. Packing brought catharsis. We discarded old mementos, symbolizing rebirth. But doubts whispered. Society wouldn't forget. Tabloids hinted at reunion drama, fueling controversy. As moving day neared, a final twist. Eleanor called, revealing Victor's softening. Private support for the foundation. It hinted at family mending, but on our terms. Emotions surged, hope, apprehension. In Seattle, we settled into a cozy apartment overlooking Puget Sound. The change invigorated, new friends, less judgment. Ethan's work thrived. Mine too. But scars remained. Occasional arguments over past choices, societal echoes. Reflecting, our journey highlighted tough truths. Love demands sacrifice, but whose? My vanishing, Ethan's walkaway, both controversial, sparking debates on selflessness versus selfishness. Seattle's rain became our backdrop, washing away New York's residue. Ethan and I built routines. Morning coffees discussing dreams, evenings cooking together. His foundation grew, aiding queer youth navigate privilege and identity. I launched my design studio, clients drawn to my story's authenticity. But peace was fragile. Past conflicts resurfaced in subtle ways. One autumn day, a year after reuniting, Ethan proposed a trip back to Manhattan for closure. I agreed reluctantly, nerves jangling. The city felt foreign. Skyscrapers loomed, memories flooded. We visited Central Park, our origin. "This is where it started," Ethan said, hand in mine. Public displays felt bolder now. Stares came, but we ignored them. Family reconciliation loomed. Dinner with Eleanor was tentative. Hugs, apologies. She admitted faults. We pushed too hard. Victor joined later, gruff but present. "I'm trying," he muttered, offering a foundation donation. It wasn't full acceptance, but a start. Societal shifts helped. More visibility for gay stories, less stigma for class-crossing loves. Yet controversies persisted. A podcast interviewed Ethan, probing our dramatic tale. Listeners debated. Was my vanishing heroic or harmful? It gowned online forums, polarizing opinions. Some empathized with my fears. Others condemned the abandonment. It mirrored America's divides: empathy versus judgment, progress versus tradition. Our relationship deepened amid this. We faced new challenges. Ethan's travel strained us. My insecurities flared. But communication improved. Therapy tools helped. One night, after a minor spat, Ethan said, "We've survived worse." True, our love had weathered billion-dollar losses, societal scorn. As winter approached, a crisis tested us. Ethan's foundation faced backlash. Conservative donors withdrew, citing his lifestyle. Media amplified, questioning if gay leaders could be impartial. It hurt Ethan deeply. He questioned impact. I supported, "You're changing lives." We rallied allies, turning tide through advocacy. The ordeal strengthened us, highlighting choices' ripples. My initial vanishing, meant to protect, had caused pain but spurred growth. Ethan's walkaway liberated him. Together we pondered, did society force these extremes? Years blended. Our story became legend among friends, cautionary, inspirational. We mentored others, sharing lessons. Embrace vulnerability, challenge norms. In quiet moments, I'd reflect on the path. Love won, but at cost. Was it worth it? Was Jonah right to vanish, believing it protected Ethan? Or was it a selfish act that denied him agency?